Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Tigard-Tualatin School Board. I will now call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. And just for your reference, the board did meet in executive session prior to this regular session, which was convened under ORS 192.6602F, that allows us to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. All right, Dr. Riki Smith, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Chair, there is one. We need to add as item G under action items, a vote on the matter from the April 10th, 2023 executive session.
All right, hearing that, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion was made by Vice Chair Jaimes and seconded by Director Zerschmied. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, and with that, we will move into recognition and good news with Abigail and Director Kinch and Kira.
Good evening, school board. I am Director Kinch, and I have the pleasure of introducing some very important people tonight. First, we have Rob Parness, who is a learning specialist at Tigard High and teacher of Abigail McNatt, who is our honoree today. And Abigail has her friend Kira Morthland here, who goes to Tualatin High School, and Abigail goes to Tigard High. And tonight, Abigail, we are honoring her for her leadership around disability awareness, particularly Down syndrome and inclusion. And so she's done a lot of work at Tigard High, and that has actually gone over to Tualatin High. She's going to share a little bit about herself, and then we have a little activity for you.
Yes, we do.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Hi, I am Abigail McNatt.
You can move that.
Yes.
Or you can see it
no,
up there.
we're going to first slide first. So, by the way, sorry, I'm seriously scared and pretty excited. I don't know what to say. But seriously, Mom. Hi, I am Abigail. I am presenting to my summary of my Down syndrome awareness and education project at Tigard High School. I am a senior this year at Tigard High School. I like to dance and ride horses. I am in choir. I was on the cheer team. I am in No Place for Hate, Search Club, and Stud at school. I am a Girl Scout, and I have Down syndrome. Sometimes I feel like I am not included in things and that people stare at me because I have Down syndrome. This feeling encouraged me to do my Girl Scout Girl War project about Down syndrome. My project was teaching people at Tigard High School about Down syndrome. My project spread to other schools in TTSD. I am really excited that my project grew and that I could share about Down syndrome with many students and staff. I have always wanted people to know about Down syndrome so they could understand me and other people with Down syndrome better. I thought if people knew about Down syndrome, me and other people with Down syndrome would be included more. My project included a Google Slide survey from research, feedback, and insights from others. My goals were what Down syndrome is, how can include people with Down syndrome, why Tigard is important. My project included a video. Some classmates helped me make a video from the slideshow to be presented across the school. My project included a beach ball activity to practice what was taught. My project included a survey before and after presentation to see what people want. I presented to No Place for Hate, Tigard High School leadership at my school, Tualatin ASB, Tigard High School staff, and Tiverton students. The presentations were great. The survey showed that people learned about Down syndrome, how to support and include people with Down syndrome, and why the German is important. Last year, socks is my favorite month. March 21 is World Down Syndrome Day. 321 represents the 3 copies of chromosome 21 that people with Down syndrome have. Study acceptance and support for people with Down syndrome by wearing fun, colorful socks. My hope for the future is that TTSD will adopt practice socks every March 21st. I hope that TTSD will include an educational piece about Down syndrome. I believe that if people know more about Down syndrome, we and other people with Down syndrome will be accepted and loved for who we are. My hope is that people with Down syndrome will be included in a lot of activities, like on school teams, invited to games and dances, have friends to sit with at lunch. That's real friendships will grow. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me share my project with all of you. It means a lot to me, my family, and many families in the Tigard-Tualatin School District. Thank you so much for letting me to be here.
Can we throw the balls now?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna throw you the balls and you can practice. Oh. Here, you want to throw it?
Sure.
Over there. Maybe I'll close the laptop. Do you wanna model how one of the questions? Nice.
Yes.
Good job. You can throw it to somebody else if you want. Mix it up. Oh, jeez.
What is a way to help people with Down syndrome? Include them. Treat them like
Yes.
every other person and friend in your school. Invite them to dances. Have lunch with them. Talk to them in the halls. Go to sporting events with them.
Yes.
Be a friend.
Yes.
Should we see if, can I get rid of this one?
Oh, I failed.
Oh, perfect.
How do you refer to a person with Down syndrome? Maybe by their name?
Yes.
They did a good job, didn't they?
They did.
That's how we throw the beach.
How many chromosomes does a person with Down syndrome have? 3. Try show me. Am I supposed to answer the question, or are you to educate me?
321 because
3
you got
copies
the 3 extra chromosomes, right,
Of
Mom?
21.
I am
21.
done with speaking.
They're gonna answer.
3 of 21, right? That's what. Yeah.
It would be 3 of.
Yes. Okay. The total number.
If I can speak.
What is a common characteristic of people with Down syndrome?
I don't want to answer.
You want to help me out with that?
Abigail, you want to help?
Yeah.
Mom, I don't.
So we have a phone a friend over here.
Remember the stunted eyelids, the shorter necks, right? Yeah. This is a while back. Can't remember what else. Remember those two? Yeah. Yeah, hypertonia. Yeah, the smooth and relaxed muscles. Yeah. And that's all I can remember.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you for listening today. I would also add that Abigail had Director Robson as her first principal.
Yes, he was. I
And-
love having him. Thank you.
And who did you have for your second principal?
It was you?
It was me.
Yes.
Mine-
I totally remember.
Probably not as fun as Director Robson, but still pretty cool. Are we done?
I have no idea anything else.
I think we're done. Any questions or comments?
Vice
So
Chair?
I apologize for not knowing as much as I should about Down syndrome, but I want to thank you both for being here and letting us learn alongside you and celebrating what you're doing. And hopefully one day on March 21st, I will show off all my songs.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me to be here.
If I remember correctly, I don't know where that came from, this pitch, but she sent a letter to the school board members. I'm sure you've all read it in detail. And in that, do you know what? I don't know where it came from, but in that email is a link. Oh, your board packet has a link to the presentation that she gave. Yep. That would give you all the information that we didn't quite teach you tonight. So
yes.
The Google slideshow, but then it has a video that Abigail, Mr. Perez, and Kira helped put together with other students at Tigard High School. Yeah. That will also answer those questions. It's very good.
This video? The one?
Yes.
Just click on the thing with,
No.
this video?
No, sorry. It's in there. I'll share it with you. I'll make sure you have it. Thank you.
So I just wanted to say thank you for coming to present in front of us. I know it's kind of intimidating to be in front of all of these grown-ups, but you did an amazing job, and you taught us something tonight, and it's really cool when the school board gets to learn from it, the students in our district. So thank you for coming. And I would like to suggest to the board that we put a note on our calendar for early March to make sure we have a resolution for Colorful Socks Day on the 21st next year.
Yep, thank you so much for letting me to be here and present. And this means a lot to me, my mom, my dad, and everyone else in TTSD.
I thank you for reminding me of that, because one thing I wanted to acknowledge is your moms. We have a couple moms here and dads that have supported all of us and making sure that we do the best thing that we can do for you. So I wanted to take a moment to thank your mom and Kira's mom and your dad.
And my dad, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, I will just say a quick thank you, and so impressed with all of the people that you spoke to, all the different presentations you gave. That is a lot of work. And so that was really exciting to see all of the work and leadership that you guys are doing. And it's fun to meet you in person, because I've actually seen both of you at athletic events, cheering and or dancing. And so I feel like I have celebrities in my midst. So thank you so much for sharing your time and all that information. And then before you guys leave, we want to have you come up here and get a quick picture. We have a little something for you.
Do you want on the front, or you want them? Did you like my picture, Mr. Robson? Did you like my picture? Yeah, Mr. Perez should be okay. No. You don't get to say no. I'm not going in. You have to. Yep. Jill, you have to. Yep. Yes, ma'am. I can take one for you. On your phone. Okay, Jill, make sure I can see Jill there. Everybody, okay, 1, 2, 3. And get one more. Hold on there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much. Kind of hug one more time. Can I please? No, you can only hug. But it was so cute, and I miss it. 1, 2, 3.
Go get Mr. Robson. Thank you.
All right, those are the, oh, are we clapping officially? These are the best parts of board meetings. Love that. All right, so now we will move on to action items part 1 with Director Rose.
Good evening, Chair Urban and directors. I'm here this evening to present TTSD Resolution 2223-15, recognizing Arab American Heritage Month. I ask that you read the resolution into the record and vote to approve.
And I believe that our student representative, Nase, has agreed to read this resolution for us. Or take turns, depending on what you want to do.
A resolution of the Tigard-Tualatin School Board of Directors proclaiming April 2023 Arab American Heritage Month. Whereas over a century, Arab Americans have been making valuable contributions to virtually every aspect of American society, in medicine, law, business, technology, civic engagement, government, military service, and culture. And whereas Victor George Atia, Oregon's 32nd governor from 1979 to 1987, was the first Arab American governor in United States history, and whereas since migrating to the United States, people of Arab descent have shared their rich culture and traditions with neighbors and friends while setting examples of model citizens and public servants, and whereas Arab Americans have brought with them their resilient family values, strong work ethic, dedication to education, and diversity in faith and creed that has added to the strength of our democracy, and whereas Arab Americans have enriched our society by sharing the entrepreneurial American spirit that makes our nation free and prosperous, and whereas Arab Americans in the United States continue to be neglected or defaced by misconceptions, bigotry, and the anti-Arab hate in the forms of crimes and speech, and whereas Arab American issues such as civil rights abuses, harmful stereotyping, and bullying must be combated in the forms of education and awareness, and whereas Arab Americans have added to the strength and diversity of our Tigard-Tualatin community and beyond, and whereas Tigard-Tualatin students have protections in board policy and affinity faces that are welcome to encourage their contributions, and whereas Arab Americans join all community members in a desire to see a peaceful and inclusive society where every individual has equitable opportunities and feels safe, and whereas April is celebrated as National Arab American Heritage Month. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Tigard-Tualatin School Board hereby proclaims April 2023 National Arab American Heritage Month and encourage all staff, students, and community members to join in this observance.
Thank you for reading that. That was wonderful. Is there a motion?
I move to approve Resolution 2223-15, the Arab American Heritage Month resolution.
I second.
Motion was made by Director Zerschmied and seconded by Vice Chair Jaimes. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, with that, we'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we are on to student representative. Thank you, Director Rose. Student representative reports, and you are the one and only this evening, so take it away.
Hi, I'm back. Yep. On April 20th of this month is our Dornbecker pageant, so please go if possible. It's a culmination of fundraising for our school for Dornbecker Children's Hospital. I competed last year, and it was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to be in. It'll be a lot of fun to watch this year. So if you can, please mark your calendars for April 20th. In other news, our Culture Week has finished, and Unity Week is coming up at the end of this month, put on by our Student Voice Council, which I think is going to be a really fun time for learning and engagement for our student body about other cultures and certain things to know about. And also, the end of quarter three is coming up, meaning that IB tests are coming up for a lot of seniors and juniors, and at the end is in sight for many seniors like myself. So people are looking forward to graduation, and senior cards are coming in as well as cap and gowns, which is quite scary to me. In the world of sports, we have our track season starting. Our women's team is already looking like one of the top teams in the state, with several school records broken by both teams already, including our javelin record for men's and our sprint melee relay and our 4x8 relay for our women's team in just in 2 meets. And our baseball and softball teams are also doing well, along with tennis, with baseball being our boys team being a top 15 team in the state of Oregon. And our esports teams, 4 of our 5 teams made the playoffs.
That's fantastic. All right, and with that, we will move to the superintendent and board communication. Dr. Ricky Smith.
Thank you so much, Chair. This evening, 2 items to bring to your attention. First is the annual district budget planning process for the 23-24 school year has begun, and we will host our first community budget meeting tomorrow night here at the training center. Dinner will be served at 5 p.m. with the meeting starting at 5:30. We encourage our community, all of our community, to join us in the work. This includes parents and guardians, students, staff members, and community members. All voices are critical to this process. Also, we are completing our internal work, meeting with principals and administrators to begin our visioning and planning for TTSD's long-range facilities plan. Later this month, we will survey our community, our staff, and students to get feedback on what is important as we assess our facilities and campuses and plan for the future. We'll do this important planning in partnership with our communities. Please be watching for more information on this important work and opportunities to contribute in the coming weeks. And that's my report for this evening.
Thank you so much. All right, on to board communication. Anyone want to go first? Crickets.
I've
Director
got,
Zerschmidt?
got one thing that I heard was going to be happening at Tualatin High School, but I don't have the date on it. I understand that our new special education teachers at Tualatin High School have put together a unity basketball team that includes some students who have Down syndrome alongside neurotypical peers. And I don't know if that's this Friday or next Friday. And I was trying to look it up online, and I couldn't find it in time because the superintendent report was so short. But I know it's coming up, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing once I finalize the dates in my head. I just wanted to let other people know it's going on.
Awesome. Vice Chair?
Not much to say other than I encourage everybody to contact their legislator, like our good old Rep Bowman, who's on the call, and just talk to them about our funding and how much we need to get to 10.3 billion.
Agreed. Director Bowman, Director Weston? Huh? Said no? Okay.
I'll go next. I'll mention the excellent middle school state testing this week. Make sure to everyone have a good breakfast and charge your iPads. And I know baseball and softball are well underway. And maybe it'll get warm later this week. We've had spring break come and go, and it's still really cold. So everyone hang in there.
Let's see. I just have a couple things before, and it's been a minute since we've been here because it was prior to spring break. But since our last meeting, several of us did attend the Tualatin High School Winter Sports Celebration that kind of honored the women's team for basketball, the men's basketball team, the dance and the cheer teams. So that was really wonderful to go to. And kind of in addition to what other people have said, especially there's some budget community work that you can engage in that we would love to have people be at. Similarly, make sure that it's election and voting season. So these midterm elections and these sort of off-year elections are typically really low in terms of voter turnout. And so I would just sort of ask all of us to advocate for our friends and our neighbors and our family members to make sure that they are getting their ballots and voting in this election. We have school board seats up on that particular ballot, and so it's really critical that we get out there and we vote. I think that's all I have.
Can I?
Oh,
just there. I finally found it in my notes. Friday, April 28th at Tualatin High School at 5:30 is the Unity basketball game.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. All right, and Patty, I'm confirming that there are no public comment. Fantastic. All right, and with that, we will move to action items part 2 with Director Moore.
Good evening, Chair Irvin and directors of the board. I brought Director Darren Menard up with me in case there's technical questions in regard to these next 2 action items. We also have joining us virtually our bond program manager, Debbie Pearson, and our bond oversight chair, Damon Henry. Recently, actually last week, we held our first bond oversight committee meeting that we've had in a while to consider discussion of the 2 projects that we're asking the board to consider contracts for this evening, in addition to other bond related discussion. And the first item, the fire alarm projects at Tualatin High, Hazelbrook Middle School, Fowler Middle School, and Bridgeport Elementary School. We recently convened an RFP process for and had committee members evaluate the proposals in the form of qualifications, and there's also a bid component that was included in the overall evaluation. And the projects are, the cost is such that it requires also the board to consider approval of bond premium, which we're drawing down. And I'm going to stop there for a second because we have a formal recommendation from the Bond Oversight Committee, and that's why Damon is joining us this evening to give a summary of that, and both related to the actual contract award or awards, in addition to the use of the bond premium to cover the budget. Damon, are you available to speak on behalf of the Bond Oversight Committee?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Excellent. Well, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share some of our findings on the bond committee. We prepared some material for your board packet that I think summarizes the details perhaps better than I can share them verbally. But from a big picture standpoint, the goal of the bond committee has always been that we accomplish all of the projects we promised the voters we would do, and that we did that in a way that maximized the trust that the voters have given us for the funds. To that end, we have been very fortunate that there's been some extra funds related to the way that the bond funds came to be. And so in utilizing those extra funds, we've always wanted to make sure that the bond committee worked with the bond program professionals and the folks from the district to make sure that we maximized any extra money, and that at the end, we weren't left in a situation where we didn't have enough money to get everything done that we wanted to accomplish. So with that kind of 30,000-foot background, everything that we've looked at on the bond committee has been, let's spend this money very carefully and make sure we can get everything done. These projects were no different. Our process is that we have a selection committee that scores all of the bids that come in and evaluates those bids and how responsive they are to the district's requests for proposals. And then based on that scoring process, the scoring committee makes a recommendation to the bond oversight committee, where we talk about the things that were found in the scoring process, and then ultimately pass that on to a recommendation to the district. Here we had two different projects we were looking at, the paving project for 3 elementary schools and also the fire alarm upgrades. The paving is to be done at Bridgeport, Byram, and Mary Woodward, and the fire alarm upgrades at Bridgeport, Hazelbrook, Fowler, and Tualatin High School. On the paving project, there was only one contractor who submitted a bid, and we scored that contractor. I participated in the scoring committee for that project, and we had some concern anytime there's only one bidder that, you know, we make sure that the bids are in line with market prices, as there's, you know, some potential for some abuse anytime there's only one bidder. But we were reassured that the prices were ultimately in line with what we would expect to see in the market. We were otherwise pleased with the findings or with the report from the contractor, and so we the scoring committee recommended to the bond committee that that project be awarded to the sole contractor, who is Coast Paving. As it relates to the fire alarms, there were ultimately 3 bidders, and the scoring committee felt that one of those was not responsive. And so after scoring all 3 together, the scoring committee recommended that the one, even though they were the lower bid, was not a responsible bid. And our understanding of the law related to acquiring these contracts is that, you know, if the scoring committee feels that one of them is out of touch with the realities of the project, that bid can be disregarded. And so the other 2 were responsible, and the scoring committee recommended that 3 of the schools be awarded to one of them, and the remaining school be awarded to the other. And so that would be the Bridgeport fire alarm project to Portland Electrical Construction, and the Hazelbrook, Fowler, and Tualatin High fire alarm projects to Performance Systems Integration. Now, each of these projects had a budget originally under our Good Book program, but those budgets are insufficient in order for us to accomplish the work that needs to be done. So the bond committee is recommending that the board allocate from the bond program contingency $2,872,187, as well as reallocate from some projects that we're calling the parking lot projects of the Hazelbrook lockers and the CFT program resurfacing. That amount is $634,613. And that with those funds reallocated to these projects, there'd be sufficient money to get these things accomplished. And I think that would probably be about the extent of what I would have to present, but I'm happy to answer any questions about our process or
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have a
comments?
question, just a comment. I really appreciated, Damon, your write-up in the board packet. It was very thorough, and even after the bond oversight meeting, I was kind of trying to sort all of the pots of money, and this was really super helpful. So thank you very much, and I have no questions.
I agree. Just want to make sure, Director Bowman, anyone else, any questions or comments?
No questions from me. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
I move to award a contract to Performance Systems Integration, LLC, for the fire alarm replacement projects for an amount not to exceed $1,960,833.23, and award a contract to Portland Electrical Construction, Inc. for the fire alarm replacement projects for an amount not to exceed $395,990. I also move to approve the use of bond premium 2 in the amount of $2,872,187 and unused project budgets in the amount of $634,613 to help cover the fire alarm replacement projects and the playground paving projects.
Second.
All right. Motion was made by Director Zerschmied and seconded by Vice Chair Jaimes. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right. With that, we'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And Director Moore, you're staying up here.
Yeah, as Damon said, we also have the playground paving project, and that was for Mary Woodward, Edward Byron, and Bridgeport Elementary Schools. And we had the one bid from Coast Sweeping Service, and similar process, taking into account both qualifications of the responsive bidders and their price proposal. And so as Damon did such a good job of explaining, there's the dollars that have just been authorized by the board would cover this project too, as there is a shortfall of the actual cost of the project compared to the budget.
Any questions, comments, or I would entertain a motion.
I guess I get to read all the numbers tonight. I move to award contract to Coast Sweeping Service, Inc. for the playground paving project for an amount not to exceed $1,922,713.
Second.
All right. Motion was made by Director Zerschmied and seconded by Vice Chair Jaimes. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right. And with that, we will move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. And it looks like we will have Director Ebert.
All right, good evening to everyone again. All right, tonight I bring you the contract agreement between OSEA and TTSD. On March 17th, 2023, TTSD and the members of OSEA Chapter 51 reached a tentative agreement on a 3-year contract that will expire on June 30th, 2025. And in your packet, you have a summary of the different articles that we have TA'd. The contract has been ratified by members of OSEA, and so this is our last step before getting it all out to their members. So, are there questions about any of the articles presented?
I don't have a question about the articles, but I am curious, do you know what the results of the vote by the OSEA union were? By what level did it pass?
It was high. I don't know what the numbers were. See if I got that from.
I just want to say thank you to Director Zerschmied for all of the work that she put in, and obviously to all of the district and to the members of OSEA. And I was involved for a very little part of it, and it was just very good learning experience for me on how those negotiations are done. But having Director Zerschmied on there was pretty good to be like a guide, and so thank you for that.
Entirely my pleasure. I wish that we had some representatives from the union here tonight so that I could say thank you to them directly, Blake or anybody were here. But in absentia, thank you to the union members who I know they worked hard to run this. It's always a tough process, but the outcome is always nice to have.
All right. Anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Tigard-Tualatin School Board Directors approve the contract terms between the board and OSCA Chapter 51 as presented.
I second.
All right. I was like,
I just want to mention a household member that works for the school board and as a classified staff, so I'm gonna abstain.
You don't actually need to because by the rules of the finances, if there are more than 50 people in that union group, then it doesn't count as a consequential financial interest, but I appreciate your care in the issue, in the matter.
all right. Your encyclopedic knowledge of all those things. All right, so motion was made by Director, did you make it? Jaimes? Vice Chair Jaimes? I'm getting you all confused. Which one? Okay. And seconded by Director Zerschmead. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All right, with that, we'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, Director Bowman. Any opposed?
I'm still abstaining.
Okay, and one abstention. The motion carries. Thank you, Director Ebert. All right. And we have removed item D, so we are on to item E. And so this is where we get to appoint two of us to participate in the selection and sort of the process of choosing our student representatives for next year. And Vice Chair Jaimes and I were the school board reps for this past year. And it's a really pretty straightforward but wonderful process. You get to meet a lot of really wonderful students and really kind of just, I think the depth and the breadth of the students that were interested was really impressive. And so it's a really fun thing to be a part of. And certainly if new people would like to step into that, that would be awesome. I would absolutely stay on that for another year, but I want to make space for new folks if they would like to. And I don't know, Vice Chair Jaimes, what your thoughts are on that, but I'm happy to do whatever people would like me to do or not do.
I would also echo the sentiment of wanting to stay on if other people are not interested.
I mean, I would love to do it, but if you guys want to do it again, you've got the process down. I think that's fine and dandy. I would actually defer to our newer board member, see if she would like to do it, because it's kind of a special thing to be able to do. You get to know students a lot better, and it's kind of fun. I do have one quick question though. In the description of it, it says that we select up to 4 student representatives. In that second paragraph in the description, is that? I thought we did. We had.
So
it should be six. Okay, so it's up to 6. So this, where it says select up to 4, it's incorrect. It would be. It could be as many as 1 from TTVA, 1 from Creekside, 2 from Tigard, and 2 from Tualatin. Correct. Okay.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Could someone remind me what the schedule is for that process or time commitment? So in the spring, so coming right up, we start we'll give out the information for next year's students if they're interested. Vice Chair Jaimes, try and remind me of the timeline.
Applications are due by May 1st.
May 1st.
So then it's
in the first
week or so after that.
And then depending on all of how many come in, we schedule interviews with every applicant. We did them virtually yes. So they were virtual interviews. Yep. And then, so there were, kind of depending on how many applicants there were, that would determine how many evenings of interviews or whatever that would take. We had a lot last year, so we had several nights of those interviews. And then there was sort of we had the current board reps, student board reps that were part of that process as well, and Dr. Sue was part of that just in terms of being there for the interviews. And then we had some deliberations and then made the appointments.
Thank you.
Yeah. Director Bowman?
Thanks. A couple thoughts on this. One, I was on this committee for my first 2 years on the board, and it was one of my favorite things that I did. Also hugely consequential because you're going to be spending a lot of time with this person potentially. And I think we've had a track record of really incredible student reps. I would recommend that at least one of the people, I'm obviously not running for re-election and will not be on the board next year, so I'm not going to participate in this, but I recommend at least one of the people be a board seat that is guaranteed to come back, so that they have a relationship with those students and, you know, can explain the process and have an early touch point for the next board rep. So I think it makes sense for one of the two of you who did it last time, who are in the middle of your terms, plus a second person who either could be coming back or may not be. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Director Bowman, and I think actually both members should be people who we know will be here because it is so much that building a relationship. We do have to pick one student from each high school, and since we do have now 2 students from one of our high schools, does that mean we also need to select which one of our Tigard High reps will be part of that committee? Or is it just they self-select themselves?
Oh, I see, because that was also, we hadn't thought about that.
The committee consists of
This
2
is sort
board
of
members and 1
outdated.
student from each high school.
So I think I would amend this when we come, and we can kind of talk about this, that any current student rep can be a part of that process, or all of them, if they want to be a part of that process. This was prior language where we had 1 student rep from each high school.
Okay.
So I would offer that as a possible amendment to the motion.
So then can the motion be made in like me and
I move to appoint board members Tristan Irvin and David Jaimes to participate in the selection of the school board representatives with 3 current school board reps in there assisting them.
I second.
That was a very tentative second.
No, I am.
Okay. Director Zerschmied made the motion. Vice Chair Jaime seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion or questions?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
When do the applications go live? When are they announced for the student body population? Like, has it been announced formally yet? Or is it still like?
I have seen mention of it in, I think it's either in one of the newsletters that went out. I can't remember if it went out from the high school or from the district, but I have seen word of the openings come. And well, then where did I read it?
Yeah.
Huh.
So this week, the timeline,
interesting.
yeah. So I would imagine this week we could get all of I think which was about the same last year. We had about 2 weeks from here's the timeline, here's when things are due, to when those things were due on May 1st. So I think this week we can do all of the official.
Correct. That's how it happened last week.
All right. Any other further questions or discussion? Just want to make sure. Okay. So the motion was made by Director Zerschmied, seconded by Vice Chair Jaimes. Any further discussion on the motion? I will now have a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
I was an aye, but forgot to unmute. Sorry about that.
I appreciate that, Director. All right, and moving forward, let me scroll here. All right, so action item F is the consideration for board to hear appeal for complaint, and this is what the kind of process that we typically do. So the board is asked to consider the appeal of a complaint decision, which has been reviewed and investigated by school administrators, district administrators, and the superintendent. And so again, just sort of, I think as we have done this, we have always, when this has come to us, we have always opted to hear those appeals. So this is simply a vote to go ahead and hear that appeal.
I move that the Tigard-Tualatin School District Board of Education will further consider a request to appeal the superintendent's decision regarding a complaint.
Second.
Okay. Motion was made by Vice Chair Jaimes and seconded by Director Zerschmied. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, with that, we will move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And our final item for this evening is the vote on the decision that was brought to us in executive session earlier this evening. So again, this is a vote from the executive session that was held earlier this evening under ORS 192.6602F to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. The minutes from the executive session will not be made public, but the board is required by Oregon Public Meeting Law to make its decision in open session. So to be clear, we will not be discussing the issue, but we'll be voting on it in this open session. So because this is sort of a complex situation, I would like to be able to give the motion in this case. So I would move to uphold the superintendent's decision with the following amendments. The first is that we are directing the superintendent to ensure that there is an intense development and implementation of training regarding policies ACB, ACC, and trauma-informed practices that will include benchmarks and monitoring for accountability at the school in question. Secondly, we are directing the superintendent to contact the Office of Civil Rights at ODE and request a civil rights audit of the school in question. So with that, I have made the motion.
Second.
Motion has been made by myself and seconded by Vice Chair Jaimes. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will move to a roll call vote. Director Zerschmied?
Aye.
Vice Chair Jaimes?
Aye.
Director Bowman?
Aye.
Director Weston?
Abstain.
And I will be an aye for a vote of 4-0 to 1. The motion passes. And finally, Patty, I'm confirming that we have no public comment. All right. So with that, that concludes our meeting for this evening, and I will adjourn the meeting at 7:24 p.m.